Hey guys, it's Belle, and in this video we are going to be reading through and briefly commenting on this very interesting anonymous commentary on the Old and New Testament by this figure who is called Ambrosiaster by present day scholars because the text for a long time was falsely attributed to Ambrose of Milan. So this text is very interesting, among other reasons, because it appears to describe transgender priests of the pagan Roman religion, which is extremely interesting. So, let's get on it. Deink considerentur precepta, lex nostra, quas stultos vocant, antestites et ministros, sine crimine sanctos et irreprensibiles precipit ordinari, et contra autem paganorum traditio, antestites et ministros idoneos sibi esse non posse, nisi ex viris transfigerentur in feminas, ut licenter et publice muliebra patiantur, et discussis in aqua in honeste crinibus mollem quas attamque vocem et turpem emittant, quod si publice facerent, ab omni populo lapidarentur. So what does this mean? Deink considerentur precepta. So let these precepts be considered. Lex nostra quos stultos vocant. Our law, which they call fools, antestites et ministros sine crimine sanctos et imprensibiles precipit ordinari. So our law precipit ordinari preaches or holds that antestites et ministros, so high priests and ministers should be ordained sine crimine, without any crime. Now this word crimen can also refer to sort of sexual immorality. Sanctos et irreprensibiles, holy men and irreprehensible men. E contra autem, on the other hand, however, paganorum traditio, the tradition of the pagans, holds, or it preaches, that antestites et ministros idoneos sibi esse non posse, holds that high priests and ministers cannot be similar to the ordinary people, nisi ex viris transfigurentur in feminas, unless they should be transformed from men into women. Now notice that this word vir here is referring to the male sex, and then feminas. This is actually quite interesting. The word femina often refers to the female sex, so this might refer to some kind of physiological transformation rather than just a social one. This is a rather interesting claim, and it could be referring to the Galli, who was a sort of castrated class of almost, we could maybe call them proto-trans priests in ancient Rome, and this could be a reference to the Galli priesthood. Now, what's very interesting then is the next bit, ut licenter, so that with public permission and publicly, muliebra patiantur, they may take dick up the arse, basically, they can bottom, et discussis in aqua in honeste crinibus, and with their hair, like, let out into the water of the public baths, presumably this is the water they're talking about, mollem quasatamque vocem et turbem emittant, they may admit a voice which is mollem, sort of, which is soft or effeminate, quasatam, which is sort of shaken, et turpem, and lazy, which is quite an interesting description. You may note in my video on how to spot a femboy in ancient Rome that the voice of femboys is described in a similar manner. So I think given that the vocabulary to describe femboys seems quite similar across Latin literature, they must have been somewhat well known. So what this is saying is that the pagan tradition of ancient Rome says that priests cannot become priests unless they are transformed from men into women, perhaps by some kind of surgical operation, such as castration, which in Latin is called devirare, to castrate someone, literally sort of to unman them, which might explain why it says from men they are transformed into the female sex. Quod. And all of these things they are then allowed to do, by the way. They're allowed once they have been surgically transformed into women, they are allowed to take dick publicly and to have a sort of high-pitched voice, which is an interesting distinction, that this idea that cross-sex medicalization allows people to perform a more feminine role if they're a natal man seems to have been around since ancient Rome. Anyway, quod si publicae facerent, which, if they were to do this publicly, ab omni populo lapidaventur, they would be stoned by the whole populace. So there we go. This is a text describing the transgender priesthood of ancient Rome. How exciting is that? I will read it through from start to finish so that you get a sense of it. Hence, the precepts are to be considered. Our law, which calls them fools, or which they call fools, holds that the high priests and ministers should be ordained without any crime, and that they should be holy and irreprehensible men. However, the tradition of pagans holds that the high priests and ministers must not be similar to these unless they are transformed from men into women, so that with permission and publicly they may take dick up the arse, and they may give out their lazy, broken, effeminate voice with their hairs like let loose into the water. If they were to do this publicly, they would be stoned by the entire population. Well, there we go. That is a description by a 4th century Christian commentary on the New Testament about the pagan transgender priesthood in ancient Rome. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy Pride Month as usual. If you want to study Latin with me, you can subscribe to my Patreon, which will be linked in the description of this video. You can also subscribe to my Discord server, where I regularly post these tidbits before they become full videos. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye everyone.